House update here at our main secretariat in Kanifing. My name is Mariam Bojang. We always bring you exciting edition of the Football House update, and today will be no exception as the league just concluded. Both first, second division male, female of the 2023-2024 season, and we're very excited to bring you a personnel that have been watching almost all of the games from Banjul to Basuri. He is no other person but Mr. Ahmad Cham. He is the Secretary General of the Gambia Coaches Association, here to discuss with us very important details and the review of the first and second division as the end of season was very, very interesting for some teams, and of course sad for other teams that have been relegated. Good afternoon, Mr. Cham. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here to discuss what I love, that is football, especially Gambian football, looking at the first and the second division, male and female.
Well, Mr. Jam, for you, like he said, discussing what he loves. Of course, everybody that is following Gambian football definitely knows that Mr. Cham follows Gambian football, and of course, it's very close to his heart. And we want to say a very big thank you to our viewers that are always logging on to watch this program, the Football House Update, giving you all the latest detail you need to know about Gambian football. Mr. Cham, it has been a very, very interesting season so far, 2023-2024. We have seen some highs, we have seen some low when it comes to performance-wise, when it comes to some teams as well. But I want us to start with the first division. And of course, when we talk about the first division, Real de Banjo have been crowned champions of the 2023-2024 season, 14th time this time around. What is the takeaway when it comes to the first division?
I think they are deserved winners of the league. And not only winning it, they won it in style, because they won it with 10 points. It was a close race last season. They won it last season, but it was a close race. They won it against Falcons by 1 point.
Right.
This year, they won it with a gap of 10 points, and still Falcons.
10 points is huge.
And it's the same Falcons who came out second. That shows you a big progress for Real de Banjo.
Right.
And the good thing is that the assistant coach who was there last season is the head coach this season. That is Ibrahim Ajata, Kicks. After the foreign coach left, he took over. And I think he did a great job. He did not change a lot of things. You see that most of the players that came in had experience. Look at Ebunene Gassama, he's one of the players who joined the team this season. Had a lot of experience. And you also look at the players that left. Only the players that left were the players that were not part of the setup, and most of them left for foreign countries, which is good. It's a good progress for the team.
Winning the back-to-back, we all know that Willie is at the helm of affairs, and of course the whole entire Real de Banjo. What does this trophy mean for them?
It means a lot, because since they won the league in 2013-14 season, there's no win the league again till last season. And again, doing it back to back, it shows something that they're hard-working management. They do a lot of work for the team. They are the ones who contribute a lot in the recruitment of players with consultation with the coach. So Willie would know the team that is going to play probably by Thursday if they are playing on Saturday, because he's always there. He always goes to training. He knows the ins and outs of the team. He knows the ins and outs of the players. He knows what the players need, and he's always there to support them. So talking about Pasamba, who's the first vice president, also he's Bakari Jame, who's the second vice president. They are always there for the team. On match day, any match you don't see them, know that they are not in town. But every game at Basori, any field they play, these three people are there to watch the team and support the team. Whether the team wins or lose, they are there for the team. If the team lose, they'll go there and console the players, talk to the team, coaching staff, which is good. And as coaches, that's what we need. Support, that's the type of support you need from the management, and I think they are doing it very well.
So one contributor to the league winning, of course, is the encouragement from the top to the whole entire staff.
Yeah, motivation is not only giving players finances, but you motivate players if they see the president of the club every day on the training ground. That tells the players that, look, this guy is care. And because they care, they will do a lot for you.
Right.
The players will be ready to go inside the field and give it their best to make sure that they achieve their goals. And I think that is exactly what the players did for Willie, Bakary Jame, and Basamba, and all the management of Real de Banjul.
Performance-wise, in comparison to last season, would you say Real did better this year or last season?
Yeah, they were the most consistent team this season. You see that they won the league with a gap of 10 points, scored the most goals, had the less defeats, and they also had a record winning having 68 points, topping the league by 10 points. I think they set a big bar for any team to come and win the league next time.
Well, it's going to be very difficult, that I can tell you for free, for anybody that will be coming to win the league next season. Well, one thing we have seen very consistent this season, we have seen the performance of footballers, you know, the energy and everything that these boys are showing in terms of performance. Let's talk about the fitness level. I know sometimes, you know, players will be fatigued at some point because, you know, their coaches will want to use them week in, week out. Let's talk about that, because I feel we have a huge improvement on that side.
Yeah, with fitness, all goes back to the Football Federation. We will look at it in this way, that when they started coming up with the calendar that shows when the league is going to start,
right,
teams will know when to start preparing for the season, and coaches will tell you that they need at least 6 weeks of pre-season before going into competition. So all coaches will know that the league is starting this month. They will draw their program and send it to their executive, and if it is approved, they start training based on the program of the coach. Then the fitness trainers will be in a position to do their job during pre-season, make sure that the players are fit, they are ready for competition. So it goes back, the credit goes back to the Football Federation, because of they are coming up with this calendar. Every league club knows when the league is going to start, and they know when to start their pre-season, what they want to do during pre-season. And you will see that all clubs are now moving in the direction of having specialized areas. Not only the head coach, they have the assistant, the second assistant, they have the fitness trainer whose job is to make sure that the players are fit. Yes, every coach will want to play with your best players.
Yeah.
And if your best players are fit, you want all of them to be in your team. And that brings also competition, because yes, if you know I'm the best on the flank, but I'm not going to training, the player who goes to training will play.
Yeah.
So it also tells the players, look, you have to wake up, you have to be ready to work hard, you have to do a lot of sacrifice to go and get your place on the team. If you don't do the sacrifice, others are doing the sacrifice, they're training every week, every day, every time. Physically, they will be more ready than you. And when you go there, the coaches will not select you, they will select the players who are ready to do the job.
To do the job. I want us to do this like fat, so we can do Wolof as well, because we want to also talk to our local viewers, you know, that are always interested in following in following this program and all of that. So we will do a summary later on in the local languages, so you understand what exactly we are talking about. After talking about Real, now we talk about one of the biggest teams in Gambian football, that is Walidan. You were smiling.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, Walidan is one of the household teams in Gambian football, struggling all through this season. And what do you make of their performance?
Yeah, I'm a Walidan fan. That's why when you talk
you're a
about
fan?
Yeah, I'm a Walidan fan. Since
Okay.
I was a young boy, I followed the team. Since players like Pamatar, Jai were playing for Walidan, Joe Dennis, late Sol Samba, Ali Samba, I followed the team.
Okay.
So I am a fan of the club. So yeah, it's difficult to talk about it, because you don't know what is happening inside the club. And for me, I believe this is something, these signs were there.
From the onset?
From the onset, not just because they struggled in the first round. The whole of the first round, I don't think they won more than 3 games and lost a lot of games with few draws. So you would see that the signs were there for them to make sure that they improve. But they were a team that you will see that even in the second round, if they struggle in the first round, the second round, they will come up and start picking points, winning teams and winning matches, and gathering the points that will save them. But unfortunately, they were not in a position to do that this year in the second round. Probably the motivation of the players was not there. Maybe, I'm not sure. That's why I said you don't know most of the things that are happening inside. But it was one of the most motivated clubs in Gambian football when the old powers led Usman Konate, that is Obi, was running the team. It was the most motivated team. Gambian football players yearn to go and play for Walidan.
Right.
Do we still have the same team players wanting to go there? These are things that they have to look at and try to restructure all those things to make sure that instead of players running away from Walidan, they want to come and play for Walidan.
Do you think Walidan can pull through from the playoffs?
Yeah, it depends on what happens in their game against GPA. If they are in a position to win that game, it's in their hands to go to retain their position as a first division team.
Talking about the playoffs, we will talk about that later after these discussions from the league. Overall, we have seen teams that have been promoted or came newly in the first division, BST, TMT, Bombarda, and they have maintained their status. And because we've seen over the years teams that have been newly promoted, they find it difficult staying in the first division. These teams performed very well. Not did they only stay, they performed very well, and they are enjoying top flight football as far as the Football Federation GFF competition is concerned.
Yeah, I will start talking about Bombarda, which is coming from Brikama. I think they had a good pool of talented players who gave it all this season. Most of the teams that played against them would struggle to get hold of the ball because they're a footballing team. They keep possession.
Right.
And they had deadly strikers. One of them have even traveled to Slovenia. So you would see that tells you something about the club. So they were in a position to pool these players, got players on loan to help them keep. One of them is a player from Real de Banjul, Kebe, top player. And they all performed very well during the season. So for me, they all kept themselves because they had the quality they needed to be in the first division. Not only coming to promotion from the second division, but they had quality in the second division. If you look at Bombarda last year in the second division, they only lost 1 game in the whole of the second round. And because they lost 1 game in the second round, they were in a position to gain promotion through the playoff to the first division, and they were in a position to maintain themselves because they had quality and there was organization. At some point, they had issues when their technical director left. After a period, he joined Brikama United. So you'll see, yes, during those periods, they struggled, but at the same time, they were in a position to pick the necessary points to stay in the first division. You talk about TMT, I always said TMT and BST change the dynamic of Gambian football when it comes to the media, because they do a lot of posts about their clubs. They talk about the team, they talk about their progression, they talk about players leaving the country. They also brought something new, especially when you talk about BST for the first time. It's the first team that had a sporting director. Most of the time you talk about a technical director, but they came up changing the name from technical director to a sporting director. Very hard-working guy, because I worked with him, Mulai Jasi, kudos to him. They also had a chief scout in Alaji Dean, who did wonderful in helping to build a team with the players. And I always believe that it's a team that is going to stay in the first division because I know the quality of the players they have at BST. The same thing applies to TMT. They don't only have quality, they also have experienced players. You talk about Yaya Ndong, who had played for Gamtel, played for Samga, played for Gamtel, had been one time leading goal scorer in the National League. You talk about players like Alex Ndoye, one of their centre backs. When Yaya does not play, he's the captain. You talk about Musa Kamara, Ibrahima Jaite. Musa Kamara is experienced.
Yeah.
I think he's the most experienced, if not the most experienced player in the league. He's one of.
Yeah.
He's the goalkeeper. You also have Ibrahima Jaite, a goalkeeper who was part of the under-20. So that tells you something about these clubs. So that is one reason they have the quality. And I believe because of their quality, they stay on the first division.
Impressive performance. This is a big improvement to the league, right?
Big improvement. When Falcons got promoted,
yeah.
They fought for relegation, but fortunately they saved themselves. And that year, GPA got relegated with Elite. Falcons saved themselves in the first season. The second season, they fought for the league and lost the league by 1 point to Real de Banjul. That tells you something that there is that improvement. The team that got promoted with Falcons was PSV Villingara, now known as Uni Global. Got relegated into the second division, but Falcons stayed. But this time, for the first time, all 3 teams who were promoted from the second division
all maintained their status
as first division clubs. So that tells you about
the quality,
clubs, the quality of players they have.
Absolutely. When we talk about football, goal scoring is number one. Is very important. Last season, Drame of Brikama, Mustafa scored about 22 goals. You know, we don't have anybody in the league 2023-24 scoring that, but we have a leading goal scorer that has been very impressive throughout the league, scoring 14 goals. Lamin Silla, better known to a lot of people by Owens. Let's talk about the top goal scorers.
Yeah, I think Lamin Silla did very well by scoring. Replacing Adama is not only a huge task, a very, very big task. And he was in a position to come in and try to fill the shoes of Adama, who left for professional football. And coming into the season, he's in a position to score 14 goals, making him the top scorer in the league. I believe he did a great job, and that is one reason there was these rumors in town that linking him with Nottingham Forest. It's because of his performance. And coaches will tell you that forward players win you matches. Forward players win you matches, but a good defense will win you championships.
Right.
If you have a forward player who can score goals for you and you have a defense that can keep the clean sheet, you can easily win the league, and that is why Biko are where they are in the league.
Can one say there is no better replacement for Adama?
Yeah, he did extremely well, making sure that he came in and scored 14 goals in in the first division. I think that's top, and had the opportunity to be selected, I think, in the national team, that is under 20, to go and show his skills, probably, if he's lucky to be part of the team that is going to represent Gambia in the WAF.
Players to watch in the first division?
Yeah, I would look at one player, like, if you look at Khalifa Jatta, I believe BST missed him a lot because he was injured almost after 3 matches in the first round. He did not play. He's a top fly winger who can play as a central midfield player. That is, he can play as an offensive midfield player, number 10.
Right.
He can play as a right flank player. When I was with BST, sometimes in the second division, I use him as a wing back because he's pacey. He can run on players and he can take shots. He's a very good player. He even plays as a defensive midfield player at some point when we wanted to attack. So Khalifa is, for me, it's a player that everybody should watch if he's 100% fit. And probably that is one reason he was also invited in the under-20.
Under-20, yeah.
Even though Banjul got relegated, they had one player, Idrissa. They call him Spana. He wears number 8, I think. He's a top talent. He's a very good player for me too. We also look at Marimo's Modumani, the striker. He's also one of the, I think he's the top scorer in the league. Talk about Mustafa Jallo, Fortune, his experience. These are all forward players. But if you also look at the defenders, there is this guy Tamba. Last season he played for Jam City, left centre back. This year he's playing for Fortune. Makaira Tambedu for Real de Banjul, I think. He did extremely well last season. He played for Elite in the second division. He got injured for 2 years with his knee, got operated, but he worked hard to come back and play regular football with Elite Force in the second division and came into Real de Banjul. And for me, I think he studied the ship. When Esa was not playing, he was always the leader at the back of the team, so he did extremely well. Yankuba Sabali also coming back as a goalkeeper after his injuries and all the issues people talked about when he was leaving Fortune to go to Real de Banjul. I think he also redeemed his career playing for Real de Banjul. He's a top goalkeeper.
Before we go to the second division, relegated teams were Banjul, Samga. How did you see their performance this season?
Yeah, I think the league table does not lie. They are where they are because they struggle at some points in the league, not winning a lot of games, losing a lot of matches, not scoring a lot of goals. I think Banjul also have a group of players who are very, very hardworking. And for me, also losing Modu Salih Jallo, I think, affected the team during the league. With Samga, it's very difficult to talk about them because when we played against them, they defeated us 1-0 in the first round. We dominated the game. We created a lot of chances. They had a chance and scored it, and that was the end of the game for BST. So I believe for Samga, it's something that the signs were there. Because year before last, they also had to go wait up to the last day of the season to get to save themselves from relegation. So all these issues are there, but if you don't tackle them at the right time, it will follow you, and eventually you get relegated to the second division.
Very interesting there by Mr. Cham. We move straight to the second division. The highlight, of course, everybody knows, is the promotion of the first ever provincial team that gained promotion to the first division. Did you see this coming from the inception to the very tail end of the league?
Yeah, I think Hearts is a very good team, and they started at the football academy. I had the opportunity to coach a team that played against them when they were young boys.
Okay.
In Jara Soma, and we drew 1-1 against them. And it was a top performance from their team. We scored the first goal, and they came from behind, equalized, and the game ended 1-1. I think they did very well after a period they played in the third division. Were in a position to win the league in LRR, played in the triangular, and got promoted in the second division. I spoke to some of their players, and they told me, look, when we played in the first season in the second division, we did not have the precision that we needed because they were not prepared very well because they just won the promotion to the second division. Immediately the league started, so they were not well prepared. But at that point in the second division, that is last season, you would see that they had talented players and they play fantastic football. They keep possession, they play football, they try to score goals. Even if they're losing, they will try to show people that we are a team that have our principles and believe in them, and they always show it.
Right.
So kudos to the Jarangas for being the first team from the region to play in the first division. And as I said,
Mariama is smiling. Are you from Jara?
As I alluded in the initial stage about the first division, I believe also the coming of the calendar promoted. Also, this shows that football is being decentralized. Having a first division team, having first division teams to travel next season to Jara to play first division football is a great achievement for the Gambia Football Federation.
Yeah.
Yes. That shows that decentralization of football is happening, and it's in the right direction. I believe other teams can follow suit. probably in the next 2 years we'll have a first division team
from Basse.
Teams will travel to Basse and play first division football.
Right, right. That will be amazing. Hearts promotion, what does this mean for the people in Jarasoma, especially in terms of business?
Not only the people of Jarasoma, because most of the first division teams now will not only go on the day of the game.
Yes, they will go prior.
It's hectic. It's hectic to wake up early because travel to Jarasoma, maybe you have little time to rest and go to the field and play. And sometimes it's extremely hot. It's very, very warm at some point, because I can fully remember when we played there in the second division, there was one of our games. I had a short, I had a singlet, and even though I had my towel with a glass of a bottle full of water on my head just to cool the temperature, and I was outside, and this was during Ramadan. When you talk about the players who were on the pitch, who were running, trying to use their efforts, trying to score goals, trying to win matches, it's difficult. So it's better for teams to start preparing to have their host in Jarasoma, where they can go probably a day before the game, relax,
stay in hotels, you know.
Yeah, and that will boost business for the people who have these residents in the community.
Absolutely.
So, and not only Jarasoma, even the surroundings.
Sure.
You talk about Pakali, all these areas, they have guest houses, they have rest houses where people can go and lodge, prepare for their games and try to win those matches. So it's going to be business. I know a lot of people will want to go and watch these teams. Probably they hear the teams.
They've never seen them before,
So if the teams are going there, they'll be ready to come and watch those teams too.
Absolutely.
That will also bring business for the vendors who are always at the football field selling. And I think in first division, they should start looking at how to make sure that people pay and watch these matches and not only go and watch the games free.
Is there a strong chance we might have another team from Jara? Because they played the third divisional finals, and they're going to play the finals in the third division. We will talk about, you know, maybe they can be a potential replacement for Jara West that got relegated.
It's a possibility, because it depends on their first game, because I believe it's if you win the first match,
absolutely,
you are coming into the second division. So it depends on whether the Nyominkas this time can do it with SL United. You had Stone Circles coming from CRR, and you also have Garawal coming from Basse. So it depends on if the draw is good for them. There's a possibility that we can have another second division team called Jara.
From Jara. Back-to-back Hawks from the second division, now going back to the first division. They had this slogan, "Back to where we belong."
I think they're rightfully where they belong. If you have a club that produces Ibrahim Akoli, that produces Seni Sanyang, talk about Musa Barrow, all these players, you had players like Dauda Ba, all coming from Hawks Football Club. I believe playing in the first division is where they should play, it's where they belong to. And with not only coming back, also winning the league. I think when they got relegated the last time also, the scenario is very interesting. When they got relegated, when Hawks was coming into the first division, Walidan was getting relegated to the second division.
Yes.
And it seems we are having the same scenario. Walidan have to go through the playoff to stay in the first division. So let's hope and pray it's positive this time they stay and not get relegated. But when Hawks got relegated the last time, when Hawks got promoted, Walidan were going into the second division.
What would you say worked for Hawks?
I think teamwork. Everybody who is part of Hawks made sure that they showed solidarity, they supported the coaching staff, they made sure that the players were comfortable to make sure that they come back to where they belong, and everybody worked hard. Some of the matches I watch, you realize that, because also I have some attachment with Hawks. My best friend is a key. He's a fan for Hawks. When he comes to Gambia, we always make sure that we watch matches together.
Right.
I also go and watch their games, and every time you watch their games, you see the top brass of Hawks Football Club. somewhere sitting, talking about the club, talking about the performance, and that tells you something that they really care, not only for the team, but they care to make sure that the team goes back to where they belong.
Right.
That is the first division, and that is why they also won the league impressively.
Another team we're talking about is Medina United, coming for the first time, got an impressive performance and gave headache to some very strong teams in the second division. What do you think of their performance? And of course, maybe one of the things is being an academy setup, would you say?
Yeah, you look at the setup. It's not only the setup, people running the setup. You talk about Tijan Masane.
Behind the scene.
Yeah, you talk about Tijan Masane in Gambian football. He's not a novice in Gambian football. You talk about the management. You look at Sehun Jai, he's one of the assistant coaches. You talk about Aliu Jai. He was a captain for Hawks. He won the league for Hawks the last time they won the league. And when the team got promoted, internal adjustments were made, and he was no more the head coach of the team, but had a role in the club. But when the offer came for him to join Medina, he took it, and I think his experience with Hawks as a football player, his experience with Hawks as a coach, helped him to mold a team that were in a position to play good football, not only play good football, but also score great goals, defended very well, and were in a position to trouble a lot of the big teams in the second division. And that is why they finished where they finished in the second division.
Absolutely interesting. And of course, talking about Medina, they got themselves also in the FA Cup finals with their impressive form, of course, along the way defeating Brikama United and other
Steve
teams.
Biko in the semi-finals.
Yes.
So I think instead of Steve Biko being the giant killers,
right,
Medina were the giant killers in the FA Cup.
In the FA Cup,
Medina were the giant killers. They were in a position to kill a lot of giants, including Brikama United. Talk about Steve Biko in the semi-finals. They also defeated Wapanjul along the way. So I think it was impressive. If you just go to the setup where they train, you look at the field, the turf, their grass pitch which they're working on. I think with the help of the experience of the coach, they were in a position to, because what they do during the FA Cup is they allow you to play your football, but they don't press you in your half. They just retreat, allow you, when you come into their half, they press you, try to win the ball, because they have fast wingers. They make good use of the wingers, and they will attack you as fast as possible. And when they score, they allow you also to play your game. You allow you to have the ball. They are resolute in defense. They make sure that they keep their goal. If they cannot score another goal, they don't allow you to score. If they don't score, they make sure that you go to the penalty shootout and they win the game.
And then Medina, the team is, I think, one of the most energetic teams. They play you, they will watch your game start in the first half. Second half, they will come dominate you, even if they are not winning, but at least they will put you to the tax and all of that, which is very interesting.
Yeah, we talk about, at the beginning, we talked about fitness.
Yes.
Because if football players are fit, they easily exhibit what they have. They can easily show their talents. They will not struggle. And I believe it's a physically ready team. They are very fit. They work very hard on and off the ball.
Teams that got promoted, Medina, Ouagadougou, maintain their status for this time around in the second division. Serekunda United are going for the playoffs.
Yeah, it's Serekunda United are going for the playoff because these are the three teams that came from the regional leagues.
Yeah, to the second
Medina
division.
qualified from Banjul, Ouagadougou qualified from URR, and Serekunda United from KM. And all these teams, the exception of Serekunda United, for now, staying in the first division, in the second division, depending on what Medina Serekunda United does in the playoff. That is in the urban playoff, because they will play there. And if they win their game, they are promoted into the first division. So into the second division, they maintain their status quo in the second division. Medina and Ouagadougou, I think they also did extremely well. Ouagadougou also hired Malik, who was one of the assistant coach of Aliou Diagne in Hawks, as one of the coaches in Ouagadougou, and I think also his experience and his input had propelled the team. They were also in a position to get players on loan from some of the clubs. I can safely say they had two players from BST, a defender Idrissa Bojang, and Sebo Tunkara, who is luckily in the
under 20
selection for the under 20 on his skills too. So Medina also had 3 players from Abubakar Drame.
Are they taking them back?
I don't know. I cannot. Because they are their players.
Yeah.
And recently I saw on the social media that the CEO of PST was in their game when Medina played Ouagadougou at the Gold Project, and I saw the pictures with these players, 4 of the players, 2 from Ouagadougou and 2 from Medina. Yes, because Baboucarr Dramé was not on the team that day, so probably they still want to get their players back. It depends on the progress of the players and what type of agreement the 2 clubs had.
So Medina got 9th position with 44 points. Ouagadougou 10th position with 41 points. Not bad. Consistent wise, I think they've done very well.
Yeah, out of 34 games, you were in a position 34. Out of 34 games, you were in a position to harness 44 points and 41 points. I think that can safely keep you in the first division, in the second division, and that is exactly what happened to these 2 clubs. They worked very hard to make sure that they maintain their status.
Yeah, and then the relegation teams, Yara West Immigration, Jam City.
Yeah, I'm surprised with Jam City because Jam City last season was in the playoff for the first division part, because they pushed all the clubs in the second division last season. If they were not in a position to win, they make sure that they don't lose their games.
Right.
And they had a very experienced striker in Bura, who played for the under 20, who played professional football, came back and was helping the team most of the time. When he comes off the bench, he was in a position to score goals and settle matches. They had Vira Jang, who went back to Real de Banjul. They also had this centre back I talked about, Tamba, who also went to Fortune. They had Ismaila, who also went to BST. So they lost some players.
Yeah, a handful.
They lost some players, but at the same time, I felt they had the talent to keep themselves in the second division at least. But it did not happen this time. They have to go back probably and play in the 3rd division and fight for their place to come back into the second division and probably progress from there. With Immigration, I think also this was something that was coming in. Last season, they did not do very well. They were very close to the relegation zone. And when you talk to some of their officials, they tell you that they don't have the support they deserve from the institution they are representing.
Yeah.
Because what happens with most of these institutional teams is that, especially with the uniform guys, what they do is they make sure that they enlist these players, even if they go for training, not like the other normal officials. They are enlisted, and they, at the end of the month, they are paid the salary, and they make good use of that with their families. But it was very difficult to have some of their players enlisted into the Immigration, and at some point in the second round, the players decided not to go to training. They had to call some of their players to come and play. And anytime this happens, it affects the team. When it happened to GPA, the team got relegated. So these are some of the things that these institutional teams have to look at to make sure that they address these problems and make sure that it does not reoccur, to make sure that their players are happy, they are motivated, and they'll do the job for them. With Jara West, it was the only team that defeated BST in the second division twice, home and away.
Twice?
Yeah.
Wow.
They had one of the best strikers in the second division in Musa Cisse, who is now playing professional football in Egypt. And I think he gave us a lot of trouble time when we played against them in the second division. So losing him, losing Ramos to Walidan, a captain and a defensive midfield player, also losing Cherno C to Elite was also a problem. Turiel Banjul, then I think he was given on loan to BK Milan, but he did not do very well. Probably did not play a lot of games and was taken back to Elite. I don't know whether he did a lot of matches with them. So there are a lot of factors, and they had to travel to play a lot of games away. Eventually, at some point of the league, they also lost their coach. So these are all things that would affect teams, and this time it affected Jara West. Last year it was before European who got relegated and some players. So these are things that happen. They also have to go back to the drawing board, look at some of the shortfalls they had, and try to improve that to play in the third division and try to come back into the second division. Sometimes it's difficult.
Players to watch, goal scorers, opportunities for them.
I think for the second division, I'm in love with Hearts' number 10, Fansu Deba. I think he did not play in the second division last season. This year he played in the second division. They call him Gaucho. He created a lot of chances. He scored goals. I think he scored 11 or 10 goals with some assists. Their striker, Cavani, I don't know his name. He also is invited into the under 20. That's the pre-selection. We also look at their goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I think he saved the day for them against Serekunda United. Because if they drew that game against Serekunda United at the goal project, and the other teams were in a position to win before the last game, they would find it very difficult to get promoted. But he saved 2 penalties in that match, and one helped the team to win that game by a lone goal. Sekuba Jaju, also one of, they call him Vinicius, he's their flank player, fast, lot of speed, skillful. I think he also caught my eye in the second division.
Right.
This team, dot line, the defensive midfield player, Kasoge.
Yeah.
For me, anytime I watch their games and I don't see him play, I ask the coach, what is wrong?
Why? Why is he not on?
At some point, I believe he was injured, and he was not always in the team. I think some of these players are players that we can watch in the next season, look at their performance, look at the consistency, because football is all about consistency.
True.
The way you perform in the first season, you should be in a position to perform better than that or play at the same level. True.
We quickly take a look at the fixtures for the playoffs finals for promotion of the JFF First Division League. Hashtag official Balua Partner 2024-2025 are released as Walidan, Gambian Dutch Lions, Elite United and Gambia Post Authority will all battle for the single spot available. Records champions Walidan FC will take on GPA FC on Saturday 13th July 2024 at the in Basori, while Gambia Dutch Lions FC squares off with Elite United at the Gold Project in Yundum, with kickoff scheduled at 4:30.
Now, if you look at it from what happened last year, Bambada came to the playoff. Gamtel was relegated. Bambada played Gamtel and defeated them in the semi-finals.
Right.
And won the finals against Elite United. This time, Elite is still there. They are playing in the playoff. Gambia Dutch Lions. It's a new setup, new ownership, everything new. They have a very good coach in Omar Cham. I think depending on their results against Elite, because they defeated Elite in the last game of the season, 2-1. Now they are playing Elite. Every game is a different game. This is a semi-final, you know. You have to win it to progress to the next level, to have any chance of playing.
Would you say this is the bigger battle?
It's bigger because it's a semi-final.
Right.
So you have to win it to play in the finals.
Absolutely.
And winning the finals will take you into the first division. I think both teams will be prepared for this game to make sure that they win the game and at least play the final. Also, Walidan against GPA, with the run of form, GPA is on. It's going to be a very, very interesting game because I think GPA, for the last 3 games, they did not lose. They won against Jara West in Jara, scoring 7 goals, conceding 1, and they are into the playoff. Walidan also scored 4 goals against Fortune, and also that took them to the playoff position. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting.
The battle line is drawn.
Yeah, the battle line is drawn, and everybody have to play for your lives to make sure that you are in the first division.
Absolutely. Well, the 2 winners will play each other in the final on Wednesday, 17th July, for a spot in the top tier. Meanwhile, the balloting for the Greater Banjul area playoff finals for the promotion to the National Second Division League will be held tomorrow at the Football House. You know, it's ongoing right now.
Yeah, it's happening now. And
absolutely. We will give you, hopefully, before we close this edition, if they're ready, we will give you the schedule.
It's going to be very interesting,
right?
Because you have Football Heroes from KMC,
right?
Balosar from West Coast, and you have Young Africans from Banjul.
Yes.
You also have Serekunda United, who is on the playoff position from the second division.
Right.
Now, Serekunda United have to win 2 matches to stay in the second division. And each of these teams also have to win 1 match to stay in the first division, because 2 of them are going to be promoted to the second division.
Right.
So, again, these teams that are coming want to test second division football. They have Young Africans was there, got relegated last season.
Yeah.
They would want to come back straight away, because there will be consequences if they don't bounce back straight away, because they might lose players to
other clubs.
So all these teams will want to come straight. Balosar will want to stay for second division football. Football Heroes have been there. They struggled. Last season they were booted out in the semi-finals. This time they played in the finals and won it against Bakau Komani, who have been doing very well in the 3rd division, but still unfortunate to play the finals and win it and come to the playoffs. So it's going to be very interesting. All these teams want to be in the second division. They all have to give it their best to make sure that they play second division football. So
all 4 teams will battle for 2 available spots in the second division for the Greater Banjul area. Moving on, in the Women's League Division 2 playoffs, Cobblers FC, as champions of the West Coast region, and Jock on Lioness of the Kanifing municipality. The winner will also grab the only spot for the Greater Banjul area. The game is scheduled to play on Sunday, 14th July 2024, 4:30 at the at the late Usman Zaho football field in Yundum.
That is the NTCC. It's going to be very interesting, because all these teams will want to play second division, to be in the league proper, and they will give it a shot. They will make sure that they fight tooth and nail to make sure that they play in the second division.
Interesting. And the last story we'll be looking at this afternoon is following the draw for the Total Energies African Cup of Nations qualifiers Morocco 2025 held on Thursday. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has released the fixtures for the qualifying series set to kick off in September. The Gambia will kickstart its March Day 1 campaign away to Comoros before hosting the Eagles of Tunisia in Banjul from the 2nd to the 10th September 2024. Well, March Day 3 and 4 will see the Scorpions play away to Madagascar before hosting them at home from the 7th to the 15th October 2024. The Gambia will play at home on March day 5 of the campaign with a game against Comoros before traveling away to Tunisia to cap off match day 6 and final schedule for the qualifiers before the 11th and 19th November 2024. Well, the 2 group winners of 24 teams will qualify to the final tournament, including host Morocco.
It's going to be very interesting. And
Yes.
I think the Gambia need to do a lot of work.
Yes.
Because the distance we are going to cover, going to playing Comoros, traveling to Tunisia.
Yeah.
I think the Gambia Football Federation, in collaboration with the Gambia government, through the Minister of Youth and Sport,
Right.
start strategizing to make sure that we have a chartered flight for our national team. Because traveling with fatigue, we all know how traveling is in Africa. It's not smooth. We have a lot of protocols. Sometimes you spend a lot of hours in some of these airports when you're on transit. So the solution for Gambia, I believe we need a chartered flight that will take the team, they play, they travel back to Gambia, hoping that the Independence Stadium will be ready before the qualifiers start, so that we can at least see our national team play at home. So for me, we have to start strategizing as a nation how we can have a chartered flight for our national team during this period. And I believe if we have the talent to qualify, if we have a chartered flight that can take the players to cover this distance, you look at a country like Madagascar, yes, it's part of Africa, but it's at the tail, it is not even attached to Africa as a continent. So you have to travel a lot of distance to go play there, come back to Gambia, go play Comoros. It's going to be very
hectic,
difficult, hectic, just for the players to travel through the normal flights. I think we should do a lot to make sure that we have a chartered flight for the national team during these qualifiers of the AFCON, because it's compressed, and to qualify, to make it back to back, we have to make sure that we are really ready for this. And I believe one of the things that we should do is looking for a chartered flight for the national team.
Okay. I wish we had time. We would have talked about the transfer market for window rather for coaches moving from one team to another. I know Mr. Cham wouldn't want to talk about that. You want to talk about that? Right. From BST, Ahmad is still standing tall. No team is coming for him, or do we have teams you're negotiating with? Okay, like I said,
no answers.
No answers. Thank you very much. We would like to okay, you're okay. That's my producer, Mr. Ibrahim Asware. Okay, the fixtures we were talking about, Balosar will play Young Africans at the Gold Project 15th of this month, 4 p.m. And Football Heroes will take on Serekunda United at the Gold Project 4 p.m. The 15th and 16th. Balosar, Young Africans, that's going to be on the 15th, 4 p.m. at the NTTC. Football Heroes will take on Serekunda United. The fixtures we are talking about, interesting?
I think it's very, very interesting. Both Football Heroes and Serekunda United are from the game. That means still KMC is at least guaranteed a spot in the second division.
Yes.
Then you have the battle between Banjul and the West Coast, that is Young Africans and Balosar. I think Balosar played wonderful football to qualify into the playoff, because they were losing 2-0 to Sibano FC. They were in a position to come back from the 75th minute.
Ibrahim said it's one of the best football he has ever seen.
They were
when he started watching football.
But it was end-to-end stuff.
Right.
End-to-end stuff, especially in the last 15 minutes when Balosar had to score 2 goals. Had to score 3 goals even, because they were leading up to the 94th minute when Sibano had to equalize. So I think it was, they played their hearts to win the spot to come in. They are playing Young Africans who also did extremely well to win against Sporting Real in the finals of the Banjul Regional Football Association. So I think they are going to be very interesting. We'll see some cracking games, and we hope that the best team wins the day.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ahmad, for always joining us. We wanted to do all of, unfortunately, we are out of time. But we want to take this opportunity to congratulate all of the teams that won the league this season: Real de Banjul, Hawks, Red Scorpions, Yakar, all coming through and to make sure they win this year's season 2023-2024. And of course, congratulations to the competition department, to the executive of the Gambia Football Federation for making sure football every season is a success story. Very interesting this season around, and we have a very interesting records set by most of the teams that have been promoted in the first and the second division respectively. And it's football all through, and like I said, if football is your cup of tea, don't miss out. Balosa will take on Young Africans at the NTTC by 4 p.m. That is on the 15th. On the 16th, we have Football Heroes take on Serekunda United. Those are the fixtures that you can entertain yourselves when it comes to amazing football. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to my production team for putting everything together. Omar Toure, my dad, Mariama Koma, my Toma, and of course the producer, Ibrahim Suare, for making sure the programs is always on the Football House update. My name is Mariama Bojang. I want to say thank you to my cousin for making me look this beautiful with my outfit. Thank you very much, and keep sporting. We love you.